Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we are here with a book haul.
A book haul!
Now, normally I am giving Dalton shit about being the capitalist among us,
Yes.
but I got my tax return and went a little crazy at the Barnes & Noble.
I love it when you do book hauls because it's the only time where I don't have to do or prepare anything. I just have to sit here and look pretty for 10 minutes.
And I do prepare
and nod
things.
and agree with you.
Yeah. So, let's see here. The first book I got and I would like to talk about and that we will be featuring on the channel sometime in the future, Lolita.
Okay.
Now, on my last book haul, Lizzie from Book Babble said that I need to read shorter clips from the books.
Shorter quotes.
Quotes, and she's absolutely right, but I'm going to read the entirety of chapter 1. It's only a couple paragraphs.
Okay.
Listen to this. Lolita, light of my life, fire of my loins, my sin, my soul, Lo-li-ta. The tip of the tongue taking a trip of 3 steps down the palate to tap, at 3 on the teeth. Lo-li-ta. She was low, plain low, and in the morning standing 4 feet 10 in 1 sock. She was Lola in slacks. She was Dolly at school. She was Dolores on the dotted line. But in my arms, she was always Lolita. Did she have a precursor? She did. Indeed she did. In point of fact, there may have been no Lolita at all had I not loved one summer a certain initial girl child. In a princedom by the sea. Oh, when? About as many years before Lolita was born as my age was that summer. You can always count on a murderer for a fancy prose style. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, exhibit number 1 is what the seraphs and misinformed, simple, noble-winged seraphs envied. Look at this tangle of thorns. That is gorgeous.
That is beautiful and uncomfortable at the same time.
Isn't it? Which is what Lolita is supposed to be, I think.
That's wonderful.
And one of the reasons I've always wanted to read this is because I have in my collection of failed novel attempts a story which is sort of the anti-Lolita. Not the reverse Lolita with an older woman and a younger man, but it's the older man and the younger woman, but it is not a story of obsession.
Okay.
So I need this, and we'll talk about this with Hot and Sticky. You have to build a palette for your novel.
And we will be doing Lolita and a full review coming soon. So we'll get there. We'll see if that chapter can hold up to the rest of the book.
Do you have any experience with Lolita?
No.
Talk about Lolita for a second. Why do you want to read it?
Because Adrian told me to.
God damn it.
It is a classic of literature. And like I said, it's beautiful yet uncomfortable. It's writing about something that shan't be written about.
Right.
And I think there is beauty in that. Very much what we preach when we talk polemic.
Yeah.
So.
My second book that I picked up, despite the fact that I shouldn't have picked up any books, was Aimless Love by Billy Collins. I need more poetry in my world, and I must be wrong in my nether taste for Collins. Because what I will read for you from this is his author bio.
Okay.
Billy Collins is the author of 10 collections of poetry, including Horoscopes for the Dead, Ballistics, The Trouble with Poetry, 9 Horses, Sailing Alone Around the Room, Questions About Angels, The Art of Drowning, and Picnic Lightning. He is also the editor of Poetry 180, a turning back to poetry, 180 more extraordinary poems for every day, and Bright Wings, an illustrated anthology of poems about birds. A distinguished professor of English at Lehman College of the City University of New York, and senior distinguished fellow at the Winter Park Institute of Rollins College. He was Poet Laureate of the United States from 2001 to 2003, and Poet Laureate of the State of New York from 2004 to 2006. I must be wrong here.
I love Billy Collins. And you always yell at me for it. He's wonderful. I have not read that collection, so I don't know if it's good, bad, whatever, best, worst. I've said many times on this channel, the poem "The Best Cigarette" is one of my all-time favorite poems.
Also, this was on clearance for $3.
Of course it was.
It's poetry. But also, something that's very impressive to me, you always use the back of the book to sell the book.
Okay.
Right?
Absolutely.
You've got the cover and the sales pitch.
Okay.
The back of this book is simply a poem.
About a book.
That is balls. And listen to it. The first 2 stanzas, I won't read the whole thing. Envoy. Go, little book, out of this house and into the world, carriage made of paper rolling toward town, bearing a single passenger beyond the reach of this jittery pen, and far from the desk of the nosy gooseneck lamp.
It's beautiful.
That is pretty beautiful.
See,
if the rest of it lives up to that, I'm all right with it.
I'm really excited he picked up some Billy Collins, so we can actually talk about it a little bit.
We'll see.
Next piece.
I've talked about T.C. Boyle many times on the channel, and this is another book that was on clearance for $3.50. San Miguel. Now, I'm a big fan of T.C. Boyle's short stories.
Okay.
I have never read one of his novels.
We did this similar with Junot Diaz.
Yes.
We picked up a full collection of Diaz.
Right.
So.
He is a product of the prestigious Iowa Writers Circle.
Okay.
But he appears to be a bit of an outcast thereof. I like outcasts.
Everybody does.
I have never read one of his novels again. This has as much contemporary cachet, like you say, as Junot Diaz or as George Saunders.
Okay.
I will read the opening paragraph, if I can find it. Arrival. She was coughing, always coughing, and sometimes she coughed up blood. The blood came in a fine spray, plucked from the fibers of her lungs and pumped full of air, as if it were a perfume in an atomizer. Or it rose in her mouth, like a hot metallic syrup burning with the heat inside her till she spat it into the porcelain pot and saw the bright red clot of it there, like something she'd given birth to, like afterbirth. But then, what would she know about that, since she'd never conceived, not with James, her first husband, and not with Will either. She was 38 years old, and she had resigned herself to the fact that she would never bear a child, not in this lifetime. When she felt weak, when she felt hemorrhaged, and the pain in her chest was like a medieval torture, like the Pien Forte et Dure, in which the torturer laid one stone atop the other, till your ribs cracked and your heart stalled, she sometimes felt she would even live to see the year out. She wouldn't live to see the year out. That's powerful writing.
Damn. We always talk about, catching your reader's attention just right off the bat. That is a literary slap in the face.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted from hearing you read that.
Yeah, I mean, when the very first sentence of something is of death but not dead.
Yes.
Right?
Suffering.
Yes. She was coughing, always coughing, and sometimes she coughed up blood. Wow.
I think that'll be an interesting one.
Now, in traditional Adrian Bookhaul fashion, I got you one.
Why, thank you. I'd like to point out here, because I always make Adrian the bad guy. I'm not a complete asshole. I get Adrian books too. I just don't publicize it as much. So, meh, internet.
Well, I want my credit.
We are planning to do this one as well for a review, correct?
Yes.
Fantastic.
This is
a big one.
Yeah, 330 pages from the
360.
Oh, okay, yeah. But
So-
that's the thing about his writing style. I read the entire first paragraph, which is, 14 lines probably?
Yes.
And just like that. It just
Fantastic.
flows.
It's good.
T.C. Boyle is very readable.
Good.
And he is able to put a lot of emphasis without stress, right?
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Carry on.
Let's see here. Because I prepare things.
It's a book haul.
The Death of Ivan Ilyich by Leo Tolstoy. This is a hallmark of existentialism.
Okay.
And existentialism is something that I would like to get a bit of a better grasp on.
Okay.
Jean-Paul Sartre, right? And the amazing things he was able to do with words. Now, this is a quote from Tolstoy himself, not from the piece, because The Death of Ivan Ilyich, the entire thing is like 50 pages, 53 pages. And it has a preamble to it that is, the preface and everything, which is about a tenth of the actual, not the 53 pages, but a tenth of the actual what you bought right there. And this is from Tolstoy himself. My question, the one that brought me at the age of 53 to the verge of suicide, was the simplest of questions, the one that every man carries in the depths of himself. From the stupidest child to the wisest old man, the question without answering which life is impossible. As I indeed experienced. Here's the question. What will come of what I do now, of what I will do tomorrow? What will come of my whole life? Formulated differently, the question would be the following. Why should I live? Why desire anything? Why do anything? It can also be put like this. Is there a meaning in my life that will not be annihilated by the death that inevitably awaits me?
Now, naturally, everyone knows why you picked up that piece. But that is
because of nihilism, right?
Yes, yes. Tolstoy is a heavy hitter. That's one of those ones that a lot of people are afraid of.
And I am woefully ill-versed in.
I agree with you. This seems like a very good introduction to Tolstoy. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say not a lot of people on BookTube have done Tolstoy recently. So that will be interesting. Another one that we're planning to review soon.
Yes, very soon.
Because apparently you only buy for business. I just bought all the books I thought were pretty. Next up.
Speaking of pretty. Undeniable by
Bill Nye. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
No one's old enough to remember that.
I know. The subtitle here is Evolution in the Science of Creation, which I think is just, I won't say underhanded, this is an overhand blow, right? After his debate with Ken Ham, I mean, this is just him going full force bludgeon.
Bill Nye went from your childhood video on a cart, watching because science teacher took the day off, to debating religious icons about evolution and creationism.
Yes.
Clearly making a name for himself, bringing himself back from the ashes of childhood. Like, everybody forgot Bill Nye existed.
Like Fox the Phoenix.
And then Bill Nye exploded back onto the scene.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I have briefly flipped through a good portion of this book, and the thing that Nye does just as well in his writing as in his debates and in his lectures and in his TV show is that he brings these facts to life through personal stories. And I didn't pick one out to read, but this is going to be good. This is going to be good stuff. And I can't wait to be able to get into it. And that's it. That's the only, those are the books I got.
I think it's a good list. A lot of things that we're planning to do for this channel. I also think it's great, and this is something that doesn't get promoted very often, is reading things that aren't directly attributed to BookTube.
Yeah.
It's not Bill Nye. That's not a fiction book. That is a educational resource. You're going to learn from that.
Here's something I don't understand about BookTube and Bookhaul videos. Why do they hold them like this? Is it for the mystery, to get you to click on what the mystery books are?
I don't.
Like, why not hold them like this in the little thumbnail so people see what you bought? It's just a question I have about BookTube in general, which is because I'm an old curmudgeon.
You are an old curmudgeon.
You know what I saw this past week? You know how Snickers is putting words on the back of their bars now?
Yes.
There's one that says curmudgeon.
Are you going to just like buy stock in those?
I might. I might have to just pepper them all around the set.
So senior capitalist himself, who spent his tax return from good old Uncle Sam on books to make a book haul video.
Now, let's be fair. I bought a book about science, which is anti-religion, which is anti-America.
Okay.
And I bought a Russian author.
Okay.
Okay, so there's at least that much there. And about poetry.
You bought poetry. You bought
Yeah.
Billy Collins, so I can't.
Who
be
buys
angry.
poetry?
Well, apparently no one. That's why it's on discount.
Exactly.
So this is Adrian's book haul.
Yeah, Adrian's tax return book haul.
Adrian's tax return book haul. Let us know what you think of his selection, if you've read any, if you'd like to read any. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I'm sure we're going to have plenty of capitalist ventures like this ahead.
Boom.